everyone, welcome to another episode of Books and Beers. If you haven't seen last week's episode with Falcon, he talked about Moneyball, one of my favorite movies. I actually haven't read the book, but I'm planning to. It was a great video. Falcon really went off on the editing. Kudos to Falcon. Now for this week, we actually have Falcon's birthday gift from last year that he gave me October 21st when he came to Boston. And that is a self-help book from 1937 written by Napoleon Hill. It's Think and Grow Rich. So actually it was a pretty cool gift from Falcon. I read it the week after he gave it to me because it's pretty short. It's about 280 pages, but as you can see, it's pretty small. This is my hand. It's like a pocket book, so it reads pretty fast. So even though the lessons and some of the stories were from 1937, it's pretty cool how you can see that they still apply today, and you can see some of these attributes in today's most successful people. And the beer from today is from Threes Brewing, all the way from New York. And I picked it because, as you can see, it has a pretty cool design. And its name is Logical Conclusion, which is pretty cool because this book mentions that you should always rationalize and make decisions logically, so I thought it was pretty cool. As soon as I smelled it, you can taste it's gonna be fruity. It smells citrusy. It has some peach in it, apparently. So cheers. So he starts off the book by saying there's a secret to become rich, and the only way you can find out about it is by reading the book, and not everyone can find out about it, which is pretty cool, because it makes it like a treasure hunt while you're reading. He outlines 13 steps to become rich, each one being a chapter. Obviously, I'm not gonna go over all 13, but I'm gonna go over my two favorite ones and the ones that I found most interesting, because I could go over persistence, desire, but we all know more or less what those encompass. So I think I'm gonna mention the two that I found most interesting and that you probably haven't thought about before. And then I'm gonna mention briefly the 6 fears that everyone has, which was also pretty cool. And we might know some of them. Once you read them, they become real. So let's get into it. So one of the steps to riches that he mentions is specialized knowledge. He mentions that obviously school is always great. It prepares you for life. It's a good starting point. It gives you skills necessary to join the workforce and start your life. However, the most important thing once you start is to gain experience and learn from the best. He says that you should have a mastermind group. Let's say you go into finance or you want to be a teacher. Pick a person or a group of people that you see that they're more successful than you, that they're smarter than you, that you think they're better than you, and you want to become like them, and try to imitate them, try to talk to them, try to pick their brain, try to go out to eat with them. And just the more time you spend with those people, the better you're gonna become and the more traits you're gonna get from them. The more time you spend with people that you admire and people that you want to become like, the better traits you're gonna get. And the dangerous thing about this is that it works the other way too, because if you spend time with people that make you worse off, have bad qualities, and at the end of the day are people that you wouldn't want to become in the future, you might get traits that might not be the best. So he says that it's important to have that mastermind group of people that you admire and take advice from them, try to talk to them, spend time with them, and naturally their experiences and whatever they've learned throughout their lives are gonna stick with you, and you're gonna become a better person. Now, another step to riches that he mentions that I found really interesting and I hadn't thought about before is sexual transmutation. It's a weird one. He says that sexual desire is the most powerful desire that any person can have, and that desire transmutated or transformed into another effort will be the greatest fuel that any person could have. Every successful person, whether it be finance, literature, architecture, art, has had a big female influence in their life. And obviously this book was written in 1937, so he focused more on the connection from male to female, but he does hint that it works both ways. So it was pretty interesting because he also mentions that most successful people become successful on their late 40s, which is when your sex desire lowers, when you already have a partner, probably you have a wife, you have a husband. And so once you have that controlled, you can focus on other things and you can use that desire to fuel you to perform those things in a better way. So it was a pretty interesting one that I had never thought about, but it's a really fair point. And at the end, he mentions 6 fears. So in order of the least feared to the most feared, we have poverty. Obviously, we all have a fear of getting fired from our jobs, not being able to pay the bills, and ending up in the streets. We have criticism. We don't want to start a YouTube channel. We don't want to start a business. We don't want to do something because we think that people are gonna criticize us for what we did. Ill health, obviously you don't want to get sick, you don't want to have a terrible disease, you want to have health, and you want your family to be healthy. The fourth one is a loss of love of someone. He puts it that way. It's more of jealousy of, let's say you have a girlfriend and you're scared that she might stop loving you, and that's the fourth fear, which is pretty crazy that it's up there, but it's the fourth fear that he puts. Then the fifth fear he mentions is the fear of old age. Obviously we all love being young, being able to run, be able to play sports, be able to do whatever you want, be able to have freedom to make mistakes. And obviously as you become older, you're scared that people around you are gonna start passing away, that you're gonna lose your physical abilities, that life is gonna become more boring, and yeah, it's a normal fear to have. And then the last fear, obviously, it's the fear of death. No one wants to die. Death is a pretty scary thing. We all want to see our kids grow, our grandchildren grow, our great-grandchildren grow, but obviously it's not possible, so that's the biggest fear according to Napoleon. The word that I can use to describe this book is motivating, because you see all these successful people, how they apply the teachings of Napoleon Hill. You want to become one of those successful people, obviously. So I would definitely recommend this book. I think it's a read, and I'm gonna give it a 4.4. Thank you, Falc, for giving me that birthday present. It was pretty cool. And as for the beer, you guys know I don't love fruity beers. This one is very fruity, very hoppy, it's very citrusy, it has some peach in it. I'm gonna give it a 3.8. I mean, it is a good beer, I'm just not a big fan of fruity beers, as you guys know. Next week, Falcone is gonna compare Moneyball, the book, with the movie, so stay tuned for that. Please like the video and subscribe. Peace.
Díselo, Benjamín. Díselo, díselo.